Alright, so actually I just entered a trade and I wanted to record a video about it. So I'm looking at the crude oil 1 minute chart today, and I just got in after this Three Stooges signal, and I want to explain why I took the trade here. I drew this support line here. See, as when price came up here, we had a pullback and another pullback here, and not much supply in the MBox delta compared to the demand that came in. And then in the cumulative delta, we saw no supply. It was just puny. So the supply didn't really materialize at this level. So what really interested me when price started to climb and then came back down, supply hit pretty hard here, and we saw that in the MBox delta. But as it was making lower lows and these down boxes, the delta was became less and less, exhausted. So as it's making lower lows here, the delta became exhausted. So it's like supply failed to materialize here, and supply became exhausted here. And when the delta came, the delta is also an exhaustion of 3 consecutive waves. We have minus 68, minus 36, and minus 12. So on the third consecutive waves, it looked like price was turning around. Also, started to see demand in the cumulative delta, a lot more here than even here. And I want to point out this wave here. It was very important in my decision-making process. It's a plus 135 here delta. Compared to the 114, this has less length. This has more length. That doesn't mean that this is weak. This really looks like accumulation to me. Since we had the exhaustion happening here at this level, this really looked like accumulation to me. And when I saw that, and I saw the delta signal, it looked like a pretty good setup to me. So I'm gonna put the record on pause, and let's come back. Okay, so I just added on another position after I saw this spring form, and I'll explain why. So the price did rise. It went in our direction. This is very much a demand wave, plus 171, so demand is expanding from 135, 171. We came down on a pullback. But I didn't like that, this MBox delta at this higher high is less than this box. We had a higher high here but less demand. It doesn't mean that we're bearish or the market is bearish, but it didn't make the pullback signal, it kind of made it look weak, so I avoided it, and that was, apparently it was the correct decision as well so far. As I came into the spring, I got in the spring because I saw minus 50, minus 40. That's a decrease in bids on a lower low. This is a lower low, and it's failing to attract more bids. It's actually less bids. So this is an imbalance, and we have a printed spring. So I thought, okay, could be worthwhile to get in. The overall forecast is still very bullish. We have to remember we had supply exhaustion. We had a lot of demand here. And in the MBox delta, we didn't see too much here, but the cumulative delta looks kind of wimpy here. I'm gonna hit pause and let's come back and see what happens. Okay, so I'm actually gonna get into add yet another position here. So I saw this double signals. It's a double signal, Stooges and pullback. Again, we see the decreasing delta minus 50, minus 40, minus 7 is showing supply exhaustion again. That's what the Stooges is about, plus the pullback. So we have an imbalance here with these signals, and it looked, pretty good place to get in. Had an upthrust here, but I didn't see any. There's no supply here. There's no case to really make a sell here. We are very much still bullish, and we saw. I was saying this looked kind of wimpy, and this turned out to be wimpy. We see no supply in the cumulative delta. So our analysis is still holding. We've got 3 positions on, which is quite a bit. And, we had the supply exhaustion, demand, no supply, and the supply exhaustion here again. So everything is pointing, all the technical analysis is pointing that, we're in good positions and we're ready to see, what happens next in the market. Looks like the cumulative delta is beginning to climb here again, so looks like demand could be picking up here after the double signal. So let's looks like it's growing right now. So I'm going to pause the video and let's come back in a little bit. Okay, so the demand did materialize, and it looks to be very strong in the MBox delta, big demand box, and the cumulative delta. We also did have a rise in demand, so that's actually a double demand here. This gives like a double confirmation. And the wave delta also has plus 138, quite a bit of demand. I'm actually thinking about raising the take profit, and I'll explain why. We had the supply exhaustion here, supply exhaustion. We had all the demand in the cumulative delta. We had the no supply here. Again, we have exhaustion here, and we have super strong demand here. There's no indication of supply at all. This could very well be a beginning of a move. It's like a train getting started. Let me do this quickly. I'm not used to talking and doing these things at the same time, but I wanted to show where I was at. I was eyeing this resistance level because it looked like price got stuck here quite a bit and kind of bounced up and down. And so I'm going to set that as the adjusted profit level, and I'm going to actually move my take profits there. Now this is we have very good and strong analysis for doing so, but we don't know if it's going to hit that price. So I do want to lock in some profits for now. I'm seeing that this on this pullback, we're seeing a very strong bar. Actually, wow, that's an engulfing. It engulfed the previous 2 bars price action. So actually, I want to lock in some profits. Hitting this level is like shooting for the moon, but we could hit it if this demand continues to be strong. But I'm going to lock in profits under this pullback just in case. We never know for sure. All the analysis is pointing that it should go higher. Again, we had the supply exhaustion, we had the demand in the cumulative delta, no supply here, supply exhaustion again in the wave delta, and we had these nice signals here, and the huge demand, double demand in the MBox delta and the cumulative delta. So I'm gonna hit pause on the record and let's come back and see what happens. So looks like we had a pretty good run up here. This initial demand here is propelling price up, and we're having a nice rally here. Looks like it might hit our profits here if it doesn't enter a pullback here. We have a plus 271 demand wave, very strong. We're seeing demand in the MBox delta, cumulative delta shows demand, and we're seeing that in the M pace the offers are outpacing the bids. So we're not seeing, since this initial demand here, we're not seeing anything bearish whatsoever. So when you do catch demand when it's happening like here, you write it, you just write it, because you see no supply. You just see no supply, and you see the demand dominating like this. There's just no reason why not to write it. I see it happen all the time. So I don't know, it looks like it could be entering a pullback here, so I'm gonna pause the video and let's come back in a little bit. Okay, so we're back. Price did go down a little bit. We had a pullback here. It looks like it's making a second attempt to reach this target profit level. A little bit about the delta I see here. I didn't really like it, but at the same time it wasn't that bad, because it looks like an effort result sort of scenario where a lot was spent, but look, it couldn't make much lower lows in the box, so I decided to stay with the trade, and looks like we could be reaching our level pretty soon here. Sort of hard to watch that and run through the analysis at the same time. Alright, well, we did see a drop in the cumulative delta here. That's probably due to this right here, to the effort result. This could be initial supply coming in, since it is bigger than everything that we've seen here. So, that's the first thing that I see that gives me cause for concern. But, markets like to, kind of flex their muscle, before doing something. This happens all the time. It's like demand goes up, you see some supply, but then it'll continue to even go higher. Like this, we've got a higher high. And then that could happen, if we fail to, get much more demand, it could get stuck here or turn around. I don't know. I wouldn't add on any more long positions here. Just trying to reach our target here. Looks like we're gonna hit it. There we go. Wow. Very good, very good. So we hit our daily profit loss at 33.9 points. That's very good. So what can I say here? Our analysis was good. It held up. It was strong. To recap, I saw that supply failed to materialize here. We had supply exhaustion here. Demand came in, cumulative delta. We had accumulation here. We had the wave demand here. No supply here. We had supply exhaustion here. We had a double demand with the MBox delta, cumulative delta. So I adjusted that profit level, and we hit it. We did good. At this point, I would not put on another long. We did have a dip in cumulative delta. This looks also strong, but we already hit our level, and that's good enough. So hope this video was good, and hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you next time.